Hello and welcome to a Smurd Pete video. Today we're looking at a Zord Ascension Project, aka ZAP M20602 in space Astro Megazord from Power Rangers Lightning Collection Hasbro. This packaging is free of plastic, and they've just announced that they are going to provide new windows because people love windows. But it's going to be, I guess, sustainable products or products that can be recycled very, very well and do not damage the environment. So we have the usual look in terms of this very, very cool packaging. This is for people 15 and over. Just zoom out a little bit so you can see the sides. And then on the back, we have the Megazord, and then we have all the stuff that comes with it. So all the stuff that's for the Zord, the little figures, when it turns into the Astro Megazord, the Astro, the shuttle, then the bit when it's in the Astro Megaship, you can lift it up, etc. And then you can lift up this bit as well on the head, which we will have a look at. So I'm going to carefully pop this out. And something I should have done before, if I was prepared, was just use my scissors to gently cut this. So the box does feel very, very heavy. Oh my god, I've just damaged that box. That was terrible. This is why I shouldn't do things on camera. But it's not the end of the world because it's it is a nice box, but I won't lose any sleep over it. And if I do one day decide to sell, I don't think, hopefully it won't be the end of the world for a buyer, etc. If I sell, I will try not to sell this. Right, let me just do this because this is easier. Right, there we go. So inside the packaging is this beautiful screen, and then if I carefully take this out, literally it's like that. So once again, very, very nicely done. And wow, literally it is taking it out. So I'm going to get it set up off camera. So it does come with cool instructions, which is always nice. And then you can see there's a bit in there, T, and that must be the sword. So I will get these off screen and we can have a closer look. Okay, so before I move on to the next stage, which is actually looking at the Astro Megaship, I just wanted to point out this beautiful artwork in here of the Megaship versus Eclipto, which is very, very awesome. Also, I got this from In Demand Toys. I ideally wanted it from Comics and Cartels because that was the cheapest at that point in time. I originally pre-ordered on Hasbro Pulse just to make sure that I had one. But in the end, I ended up buying from In Demand Toys. So I was looking at so many at the same time that I forgot. And it was probably about 20 quid cheaper, but Comics Cartels was the cheapest. The whole shebang has it for that price as well, which I feel is a good price, but they weren't getting it till this month. So I wanted to get this because I really wanted it, and I really wanted to review it as quickly as possible because this is amazing. This is one that I've waited my whole entire life for. In Space is one of my favorite seasons. So let's start having a look at the Astro Megaship. So first of all, we're just going to start with this because it's probably the easiest part of the review. Is they do come with these little figures, so you can see in comparison that to the Astro Megaship. There is no real detail on them other than they are the colors that they are on the show. And also you can see them in comparison to the shuttle as well. So they seem to be in line with that if you are trying to put a display on. But other than that, they're just, well, they are there. But it's nice to have it. All right, so in terms of the shuttle, I don't know what it is. Mine just seems to pop out. I really wish that would stay in there flush, but mine pops out. I may have a little play of it offline later. Maybe that's like misaligned, etc. But it is very cool that we have the shuttle. I feel like it's the right size in terms of proportions with the Astro Megaship. Nice little thrust there. Would have been cool if they were sort of yellow, perhaps. Maybe I'm being a bit pedantic. And then obviously you can see that the Megazord head is in there. Maybe that's why it's not sitting in place. Or maybe I've just made that worse. Oh, no, that didn't work. And then inside there you have the 5 ranges in there, which is very, very awesome. And you get some nice little detail in there. I'm not sure how on earth they achieved that, but it is in there, so that is nicely received, in my opinion. Yeah, that's gonna bug the hell out of me. I think I made that worse. Anyway, so that is that, and then obviously you have the bit, and you can drop it in there. The easiest thing to do, and especially not when I'm on camera. You know what, the easiest way to do this is actually, apologies, is just to have that in there, and then bring these bits back very, very carefully. There we go. That looks nice like that. That is much better. So when the Astro Megaship is in there, you've got this little bit pointing out. Obviously, be careful because you don't want to damage that piece, etc. So let's have a look at the top of the Astro Megaship. It's got some really fine detail on it, some nice sort of silver going on there, and beautiful, beautiful, absolutely beautiful detail. You got nice little turrets on there, etc. You have the wings that you can bring down and obviously bring up to shape how you want it to be shaped. Obviously, this is the upper part of the legs, and then if I do this correctly, he says, no, that's not gonna do it. Okay, I will have to look in that in a minute when I've got one hand, so probably doesn't help. So there is the thing. It does look really, really good. You got these little bits on the side. They do pop off, etc. Now, on the back here, you got the thrusters, which are actually the legs. So they've done that part really, really well. Sorry, I'm not. And then actually the cable is just the arms on the bottom. Now, I guess my biggest gripe is you got the hands showing. And I really wish that they had found a way to incorporate them in the body. You also have the big gun. Now, from my understanding, if I remember correctly, in the show it didn't really show them, but in the toy, you could put this under there, so it's a nice storage point. So just going to go to the hands quickly, because that's yeah, I should have realized, because it's got the holes on the other hands. That could have been really flush and not look weird, but instead they have. So you either keep the hands on or you keep them off. It's entirely up to you, your decision, your toy, or your collector's item. But yeah, I find that a little bit annoying, a little bit disappointing. Now, it does have wheels on the bottom as well. It's got that nice sign, so I believe that is the shield, unless I'm mistaken. I could be completely wrong. And that can roll along to take off as well, which is very, very cool. Now, let's see if I can do this correctly. Oh, man. I really do apologize. I'm just trying to establish how you lift that piece up. And I should know before I do the review, because, well, that's what you should do as a reviewer. You should check your stuff before, instead of doing what I do, which is totally unprofessional. And you just try and lift things up, and it doesn't actually tell me in the instructions, which is super embarrassing. Just try this. Let me just pop this out briefly. And then, there we go. There we go. So it's literally just the M piece you lift up, and inside there you can see the ranges. See the little reflections in there as well, which is pretty decent. It's hard to see them, but they are in there. That does look cool. I do like it. It's a nice gimmick. So there is the Astro Megaship as a whole. I'm gonna go transform this into Megazord mode, but in theory, I'm probably going to keep it in Astro Megaship because I love the Astro Megaship. Okay, so I wanted to get this bit out of the way. So I just want to compare it next to Dino, Mighty Morphin Power Ranger Megazord. Now, I guess in comparison, these are based off dinosaurs rather than a spaceship that they lived in, which, as you can imagine, would be quite massive. However, if you, I feel like if they thought about this properly, this should have been the size that they always aspired to in terms of creating the size of the Megazord, because we do want massive Megazords. We want our 6-inch figures. All right, it still doesn't scale compared to it, but we still like the big things. Of course, that means that prices go up, let's be honest. And people argued that this was expensive enough and this was a hell of a lot more, but it still feels worth it, etc., in terms of the size and how it looks, etc. So I feel like there's big gulfing difference, and they haven't planned this properly, and it's not the first time that Hasbro have done it, and I'm sure it won't be the last. My worry is that we're going to get lots of different sizes of Megazords now, and they're not going to compare to each other. Now, I will say this, if it's not this size, is it a good enough Astro Megaship? You know, you start questioning about this. You know, if they did scale it, you know, this little bit, would they have created such a good Astro Megaship? Perhaps not. So there's lots of variables with this. And I guess that means that each Megazord that they create will be based on what they think is right in terms of what they're trying to create, rather than keeping it size. Bear in mind, these two never met on screen, so you can't exactly say, hey, on the screen they were exactly the same size, because we don't know. We presume that they're the same size. So so it just bugged me a little bit, to be honest with you, because I would have liked them to be the same sort of size, and you know, this would have looked amazing this size as well. And you know, the Zord's bigger, you know, perhaps a bit more articulation. I know they weren't exactly well articulated in the show, but you know what, they could have been well articulated toys. Okay, so my next gripe is around, oh apologies, I'm just knocking stuff, is around the arms. So I would have liked more articulation with the arms in terms of movement, etc. I mean, you can push this out to give him something, but it feels sort of forced. Do you know what I mean? Like it shouldn't be there. So let's just look at articulation as I'm on the topic. So the arm can't go all the way around. You cannot lift that up. You can poke it out like that, and you can poke out like that. It just doesn't look right, does it? Let's be honest. You have to get that arm in there to even make it sort of look a little bit decent. So from my perspective, that was a little, I feel like here they should have been able to fold that out that way slightly, or giving it movement in there, but they haven't done. So the rest of the arm, there is a swivel there. There is a single on the joint, and the arms, the hands can move around. One thing I will instinctively say is these are sort of rubbery, but they don't fit. The sword doesn't just pop in there nicely. You have to sort of push it through, etc. Just shift that to one side. Okay. Now you can do a full swivel all the way around. Sorry. I keep forgetting he's got a massive sword. So these bits do pop up, which is nice. Just be careful, because you do have this little bit in here. So if you are doing any movement with this, just be careful. Highly recommend that. You can do a little bit of movement there, which is good. And there is a swivel on the thigh. And then you can not really move that. It's very limited, but you can do that. So you can do that, but I feel like the pivot on the feet would have been perfect for getting us into some really, really decent poses, etc. The head can go all the way around, which is very nice. And you sort of separate, and you can pop it up a little bit. That's a bit weird. Oh, So you get a little bit of movement. Sorry, you can't really see. You get a little bit of movement there. Go on. Not staying in place now at all. Okay. Right, so let's have a look at the figure itself. Oh my goodness, I feel I've just damaged my wife's wallpaper. Don't tell her anybody. Right, anyway, she don't watch my stuff. She's not interested in my stuff. So this bit sort of pins on the back. So there is two sort of sections to it, and then it just sort of drops on the top there. No real kibble at the back, which is nice. It does have this massive gaps. I feel like they could have easily created a little lip down there. Just, I don't think it needs it to be steady, but it is a very tall figure. Okay, let's look at the sword. The sword is a wonderful piece. I love it. I love the side. It's massive. It's scary. You are not going to be messing with that. The legs, once again, I mean, these are all parts that we've seen on when he's in the Astro Mega ship. It's nothing different, but you know, the legs do look very, very nice. I'm not seeing any sort of issues, etc. Then you've got the in-space symbol there. And we've seen this piece before. You can flick it up. It becomes redundant in this sort of mode. You don't go for it for this mode because they're meant to be up here in a little cockpit there. Looking very, very cool. That does look very nice. It is a nice little head sculpt. So, yeah, very, very impressive figure. So, what else does he come with? Okay, the other weapon that he comes with is the classic gun. I think he only used it a couple of times, but it is still part of him, so I'm glad that he's got that. He's also got the open palm hand going on, which is pretty nice. Yeah, that's pretty much is what it is. I can't remember if I showed that you could turn that. I think I did. I think you can turn that around there. I think I've already done that on the articulation, so I won't go on to that. The other hand that he has, he does have a little closed fist. So if he's punching any of Astronomer's monsters, he can do that as well. I've got to say, I felt like Hasbro were very brave for this move. They could have. It took them a long while to get to Zords, and they went for the instant comfortable bit: Megazord, Mighty Morphin Power Ranger Megazord, and and Green Ranger's Dragonzord, which would have made them comfortably money. So this was a gamble for them to truly see whether the fans are going to go out and buy more Megazords, that they're not just interested in those fans that are die-hard Mighty Morphin Power Rangers fans, that they could capture the other fans of other lines, and they can. I hope that this proves that to them, and I hope that the next Megazord is perhaps a Data Megazord, and then, you know, they move on to something completely different. The thing with swords is they're not going to be releasing lots and lots and lots. It's financially not a sound release, if that makes sense. Them gradually releasing maybe 2 a year is, I think, what we're going to see. But I don't mind that. My wallet doesn't mind that at all. Because if I'm paying the sort of money that I paid for this, it's not going to happen. I also need to consider room. That's the biggest thing when getting Megazords. They are big. Where on earth would I store them? That is the biggest thing for me personally. Okay, before I finish the review, I made a couple of errors, a couple of boo-boos. Sometimes happens, especially when you're so excited about a figure like I am with this. So you can create a sort of rocket to take the shuttle into space, which I feel is a very, very nice homage to the end of Turbo in particular. And I think in the second episode, they used it to do that as well. Blast off. The other boo-boo that I made was because of that. Apologies. Let me just pop this up carefully. Because of that, let me just pop this up as well. I did the gun incorrectly as well. They should be very simply. These things are put on the side, etc. Just to create that perfect gun like that. That looks awesome. I dig it. Love it. Looks great. So apologies for that error, and obviously that can go in the Megazords, and like that. There we go. So just to wrap this video up, I really love this sword. It's beautiful and very happy. Power Rangers in Space is, I think, I always struggled whether it's that or Zeo, but we're gonna say in Space is my favorite at the moment because I've got this in my hand. If I've got Zeo Megazord, it's that. One of my favorite series, consistent throughout. It's just brilliant. The villains are great. They got the Psycho Rangers in there. It's just a brilliant story. And then they've got Countdown to Destruction, which is what an ending. Anyway, I hope you like my video. If you do, please support my channel by subscribing. I really appreciate that. Make sure you look after yourself. Very important these days. And as always, embrace geekiness. Take care. Goodbye.